Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are in the world, tuning in to the Week in Waves podcast. I'm Spinksy, your host. We have another very special guest to us for today, former world professional surfer, surfboard shaper extraordinaire. It is Cheyne Horan. How are you, mate?
Good, Spinksy. How are you, bruh?
I'm excellent, mate. Always feeling good. Thank you
You look like you've lost some weight.
Yeah, I know. It's good, eh?
You're lucky. Hey, it's the hardest thing to do when we're our age.
I know. What are you punching now? How old are you now?
Oh, I'm the same as when I was on tour. 150 kilo.
little skinny grommet back in the day. Speaking of that, I'm quite interested. I'm sure some of the listeners and our watchers would be too. Back in those days when you were a grom, the Bronzed Aussies with Peter Townend, PT, Kanga, and Cairns, Rabbit, and surfing with all those Hawaiians. Was it as gnarly as what we hear in books or read in books and in movies?
I kind of come along after it, like, that whole busting down the doors thing. Like, I was there at that time, but I was a grommet.
Mm.
So they were more like the established guys, and they were trying to take surfing into this, where it was kind of like Muhammad Ali was really big at that stage. I am the greatest and I'm the best. So they took that persona on, and, the Hawaiians are more humble than that, and they had great surfers, and the Aussies were saying, they're the greatest, and the Hawaiians had great surfers too. And so they took offense to it, and then they came to the Hawaiian Islands and tried to put it in the Hawaiian Islands. I saw some pretty bad stuff, but, I kind of understand it. It was really gnarly. It was very hard for an Aussie to understand because we're not so tribal.
Mm.
And so, seeing that in Hawaii, all the fighting and things like that, it was kind of blew my mind a bit. But when you're like, I've lived in Hawaii for 20 years, and you get the vibe, like, people are coming to take their waves, coming here and taking the waves, and, and giving nothing back, just take. So there's a lot of that, and I saw a lot of that, but I get to understand it, from the Hawaiian side, and, being a warrior, they stand up for you come here and do that on our land, and you're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, true. Was it while competing with all that crew, the likes of Reno as well? Did he compete at that time?
Yeah, like I was competing with Reno, that whole era. It all started around 76. That's right when I turned pro.
Mm.
And it was the first year of the world tour.
Mm.
So it's pretty, Reno was always a surfer that just got out there and let his surfing do the talking. He wasn't big like the Australians were sort of, like, especially some of the guys would, their bark was bigger than their bite. They were saying they're the greatest, but they weren't the greatest. You had, they're out there saying they're the greatest, and you got guys like, Michael Peterson and all Gavin Rudolph and all these other guys from all these different countries at that age who were the greatest surfers in the world.
Yeah, true.
But that's how they motivated themselves to get up. That's my son calling.
Oh, okay.
It's all right. He'll be home soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, those early days, like in Hawaii, everything was getting established, and with all those guys, like, ended up, we ended up building the sport. Like, I can remember being in meetings with all those guys, like Reno, Michael Ho, BK, Ian Cairns, PT, Gavin Rudolph, Sean Thompson, Michael Thompson, all these, like, from every nation. Like, what are we going to do with this professional surfing? And this is all at that time. And we sort of just going, oh, look, let's build this sport. And, you'd get guys that you knew in the meetings, like, guys were trying to build the sport around their their strengths, right? Their judging system and the rating system and the hassling system, and the places where to have the competitions. It was all sort of, you could see there was a bit of this, but what the overall thing with all of us in the meetings, and I got to have my say as well, because I was the youngest guy in the meetings, the youngest pro on tour. So, we all got to have our say. And, we wanted a world tour that went around the world where we could all get paid to go surfing.
All right.
That was the dream, which is,
that
dream today.
Yeah.
That dream today is like, oh yeah, that's like, in the beginning days, it was a dream. Now it's a reality.
Yeah, it's fully involved. It's radical. So from back then and when you were surfing through the years to what you see now, what's the biggest sort of major difference that you, outside of the guys with the maneuvers and boards and so forth, just the tour in general, what's your opinion of that now?
I think it's been cleaned up a lot. I continually think about, like, I look at it and I think it still has its, it still has its favorites, and they still would like a story. Like, if a contest goes, oh, look, and a goof foot has never won this contest, and, and all of a sudden a goof foot wins that contest, and he might get through one heat that he shouldn't have got through. That's still happening.
Yeah.
In the old days, they go, oh, this guy, it'd be great if he wins it, and then all of a sudden he wins it. But it was very easy to manipulate. The biggest difference, I think, is with we used to have 4 waves, which meant if you fell on one of your waves, you were basically out. So the margin for error was very small. And you couldn't blur the lines like you can today, right? Like, if a guy goes in the water and he gets 3 great waves, but he falls on his 4th, he's out. Especially if he doesn't get a 5th, which it's very hard. You see these guys today; they're finding it hard to get 2 good waves in 30, 35 minutes. We had to get 4 good waves in 20 or 25 minutes.
Crazy.
So, and we were paddling. So it was a fitter game for us, even though these guys have picked up their fitness. Like, you see them training at their fitness, which they have to, because fitness, when you get tired, if you're fit, you make the right decisions. So I see the biggest difference is that we had to almost surf conservatively, but go for it. You had to, like, if you surf too conservative, then you didn't, you wouldn't get through. So you had to surf radically without making mistakes. Whereas these guys today, they can go for it and just blitz it and make a mistake and still win the heat easily. You couldn't do that in the old days. Hey, the dogs are going to go ballistic right now. So this is take 1. You've got take 1. We're going to have to move in take 2.
All right.
Take 2 will be as soon as my son walks in the door and these dogs shut up. All right, let's get back into it. We're ready. Counting you down. 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Okay, so the gnarliest in there with that tour, competing against those guys, did you find it, well, you won a few. You did pretty good. Sunset. Yeah, so I'm guessing you sort of handled that situation with all that crew pretty well.
Yeah, well, I was lucky that, I kind of came on from a different, they all grew up riding longboards, and I came in riding shortboards. So they have come from, like, riding longboards and had to adjust. And I just went from skateboarding and swimming and being at the beach and riding shortboards. So I was able to get in and do really well. Like, I won. I had this thing with the competitions where I wanted to win everywhere the tour went. I wanted to win everywhere the tour went, every contest for the whole year. That was one goal I had, which I never got to do. But one of my goals was to win in every country. So I won in Japan, I won in England, I won in France, Hawaii, America, Brazil, South Africa. So I was able to win a contest in everywhere that the tour stopped, which was one of my goals. Yeah. And I had some great battles with guys along the way, like, you know, Notorious with MR and I. We had amazing battles of, you know, which I got the upper hand on that. He won the tours, but, you know, I won the individual heats that we had. You know, he won some, but I had the wood on him there. You know, and just there was so many great battles. Like, so many guys had so many different approaches. You know, like when you're coming up as a, you know, you're going out to have a heat with somebody like just say I was going out to have a heat with Rabbit. Well, Rabbit would have some strategy in place that would beat you, right? But you know, but then I would have a strategy in place, and I'd have my strategy was a lot of times I'd have, because I had the biggest maneuvers, I was always like, I would try to save that for the final, but I'd use it in heats if I needed it to come from behind. So that was always my strategy, was that, you know, you get behind, you're going to have to use your big move. And if you make it, you make it. If you don't, you lose. And what happened a lot with that strategy in some heats is you wouldn't need to use it, and you'd go and try and use it, fall, and then lose that heat.
Yeah.
Because these heats, if you blow one of your good waves, you're out. So your strategies, and then you'd have someone like PT who would be trying to starve you out of waves. You know, you'd go against someone like Kanga or Sean Thompson. Sean Thompson would try and maneuver you out, but he'd also try and catch the better waves. So, you know, you're in a wave catching competition with guys. You're in a hassling situation with guys. You're in a thing where, you know, like if you're up against MR would have had these polished snaps in the pocket. So with MR, I'd have to make these big long floaters and try and make a point of difference. Or MR was sort of struggled being a real good tube rider, pulling in the barrel. So knowing their weaknesses and their strengths, you could you build your strategies around this. And also the system, you got 20 minutes. Usually they were 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, we did it for 20 minutes for the first tours. Then we went, oh, let's make them longer, and let's make it, instead of 3 waves, let's make it 4 waves in 25 minutes. Now you see guys wait 25 minutes to catch one wave. Well, they start the heat after 10 minutes.
Yeah, restart.
You know, I'd get ahead of some guys and look like I was going to get through the heat because they'd make it 20 minutes, and I'd be ahead using a 20-minute strategy. And then they go, oh, we're going to extend the heat because the guy you're surfing against is the guy that they wanted to get through. They'd give it 5 minutes, and he'd get it one good wave in that time after the heat was over, get the good wave and progress on. That happened to lots of guys. That happened to me like 5, 6 times.
Yeah. Especially with the small waves, you were riding it pretty much right to the beach, all the way through from out the back.
Length of ride. Yeah. Length of ride was if you didn't ride your wave to the end, you didn't get your points. So you could rip the bags out of it, yeah, and then not get it all the way to the point. They'll give you 5 points when you did the best maneuvers of the year in the first part of the wave, but you didn't make it to the end. You got 5 points. Yeah, it was totally different headspace, and like I really like the way it is now, where, like, to me, I think surfing a wave is a complete thing, right? And you don't have to ride it right through the dead. Like, ride the beautiful part of the wave and then kick out when the energy dissolves. And when they surf on a wave and they do I think the biggest maneuvers is what really entices me. Like, it's what I really look for, the radicalness, the degree of difficulty. Like, I saw Mick Fanning go through on his tour, and to me, there was no difficulty in his thing. It was all beautiful to watch. It was great, but you had guys like Medina who would throw big airs and risk everything and blow it and just not quite win the world title, where Mick Fanning had this insane routine, which is a routine because as a surf coach, I coach people, and when I coach them, I teach them a lot of Mick Fanning stuff, because all his hand movements, the board placements, the place he hits the wave, like the most critical part of the wave, with the most radical maneuver. But all his maneuvers, to me, there was no risk. So to me, I like watching it. To me, at that time, Medina was my favorite surfer because he risked stuff. I like to see surfers risk difficult. That's my style. That's what I think I like. That's the style of surfing I really like, but also putting it together in a complete wave. Like, I just don't like guys like imprinting themselves on a wave. Like, you see a guy who will have it in his head, I'm going to go up and I'm going to do a twirly bird and land it, and and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get 8 points for it, right? But there's no flow. There's no connection with them and the wave. I don't like that style of surfing. I like when the surfer actually connects with the wave, flows with it, hits the most critical part with the most critical maneuver, and then continues on and keeps the flow. And if his wave's got another part, then he does it again. That's the surfing that I really like.
Yeah, exactly. Very exciting too. Now, back in the day, you were predominantly riding single fins. MR dabbled in his twin, signed thruster. Then you had the star fin with Ben Lexon. For most would know that you do shaped surfboards, and you've been doing it for quite a while now. Your board design has evolved over the years. Are you happy where it is now, or you just keep on tweaking?
I keep pushing forward with my 5% and 6%. It's like in the early days when design, like we started out with longboards and that, and I when I very first got my hands on a surfboard, it was a 1962 longboard with a Waverley registration on it, and it was left at the house that we moved into. There was 4 of them on the back lawn, and they were all rolled. But I still remember them like I'm a kid. I know nothing about design or anything. They had all rolled. They had egg rails, and I remember everything about them. The shape of them, the outlines, and everything. So my design started as a very small kid, and then I got into designing the foam boards that we had and putting fins in them because they didn't have fins, and fixing the dings up with wax, and it all sort of started, right at the very, very beginning, right? And then working with McCoy, we worked on all this design. Like, we just wanted to make boards go a lot better. I'm just going to have to go stop there. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I've got the daughters arriving. There's the dogs. Yes. Here's my daughter arriving from university. It's a very busy household. It's just like, this is a family house. We're trying to get this podcast done with the Week in Waves podcast with Spinksy. But and Spinksy's got to be very patient at the moment. Don't you?
I might leave this bit in, mate.
Are you patient? Are you very patient?
I've learned to be patient.
I tell you what, you look good, mate. You I don't know, have you got one of those cameras that make you look good?
Oh, no, I think it's because I've got the background in there, and it's probably polished up the face.
Oh, right. You've got a black background, don't you?
Yeah, I've got the green screen, mate. Yeah.
Your green screen, is it?
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, you put a background in there, and I put me
Watch the dogs. Have you just got home from uni? Can you come here? You met Spinksy a long time ago, right? Say hi to Spinksy.
Hello.
This is
remember me? We had dinner at the surf club. I think you were playing netball back in ages ago.
Maroochydore.
Oh, really?
Do you remember going to dinner with a guy and his wife?
And my son, little boy, Kobe, which is now 17-year-old and does my head in now.
At that age, I don't know. We go for.
Oh, well, you'll see the picture. I'll send it through to Cheyne later so you can remember our time at the table at dinner. Yeah.
We're doing a podcast right now, so you're on his podcast. Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
That's Alana. Did you just come back from uni? Our friend's house, uni, and friend's house. Yeah, so let's get back into the design, right? So design, with surfboards, and you understand, you're somebody who does understand design because you come from a family of surfers that have grown up with trying to get the ultimate surfboards, with Gringo and all that, and your uncles and that, right? They're all great surfers from the 70s, 60s and 70s, right? In the 70s, we used to have the wide point used to be up front, and we do all, what we used to do is we'd push down on the board and we'd unweight on the board to make the board go fast, right? And we'd be moving it around. Then we'd finally get to a point where, okay, we've run out of gas, we've got to step forward and then keep the board flowing. So then you could keep the board flowing at a nice even speed. And then what we wanted to make a board that you could just stand in one spot. Jeff McCoy and I said, look, I want to just be able to keep everything real fast. I want to get faster. So I wanted to be able to just stand in one spot and go whack, 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 whack. Now, this has been well recorded, but not what I'm going to talk about right now, which is, so standing in one spot, you're going whack, 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 but you come to a point where you have to step forward because the wave doesn't always stay like that. All of a sudden, the wave loses all its gas and you have to move into the part of the board that's actually holding you up. So we had a narrow nose, but when you step forward, it didn't really want to keep going forward. So I'm going to go into the future of how I've evolved design. So one day about 15 years ago, I'm watching these guys surfing down at Burleigh and they're riding in, and as they ride in, they get to the end of their ride and they just kept falling off. And I thought, I've been seeing, you've seen that forever. We've seen that forever, right?
Yeah.
And you say that to somebody, and they go, oh yeah, I've seen that 1,000 times. You see people ride in and you see them flop off the side. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, why do they do that? Because they were doing it. This guy's 4 hours I was watching this. And I'm just going, why are they, just coming into this dead section, flopping off? And I realized that what's happening is, because the board is so narrow in the nose, right? The board, as it's going along, it's actually giving up at the front. Because it's thin here and it's narrow, it's actually sinking. So it's slowing down at the front. So what I did is I started to widen the front. So when I widened the front, it allowed the front to come up and plane better, right? And then I did the same to the back. So I got it balanced, the right balance with the board. And you hear guys go now, oh, wow, I widened and my noses on my board and they go so much better and they're so much easier to ride. This is right where it came from. I didn't copy it off one other board. I developed it. And what it is, it's about balancing the board. See, we've been riding for so long on boards that only balanced in the middle, right? They weren't balanced in the back because the back was sinking too, and they were sinking at the front. So what I've done over the past 15 years is I've balanced the back, balanced the middle, and balanced the front. So the board planes nicely and doesn't want to sink at any point. And then it's about adjusting it to people's weight and ability.
Yeah.
And that's just the balance of foam.
Right. Are you using machines to cut, or it's all hand?
Sometimes I do some hand shapes.
Yeah.
But it's so, you're taking off the skins and stuff like that. It's better off to just get the computer, just takes the skin off. But all the shapes, when they come off a computer shape, because I'm doing custom boards, I dial the boards in, like the rail shapes aren't always the way you want them. And on the computers, they cut the board differently in different parts. So you kind of, when you get a computer shape, you got to fix that up first before you start.
Yeah.
And then you start to blend your design in. And my design is so, like, when people get my boards, I never show the bottom of my boards on internet or anything like that because it's over 50 years of work, but they're so intricate. they're like a Ferrari, like they're a machine on the bottom. Anyone who's got one of my boards, they always say how fast. I didn't know boards could go this fast. Wow. You know, just the other day, Casey said to me, who surfs all his life, he goes, Cheyne, I think this is the most futuristic board I've ever had. Now, they're futuristic in the way that they aren't your single to double concave, which is a 1982, 84 design.
Yeah.
Right? They're not an 1984 design that they're still trying to pump through today, which is like 90% of the boards you see in shops. So with the boards like of today, I look at them and think, I look at a board and I go, okay, it's got like an 81 outline, 1980, 1980, 81 outlines, very similar.
Yeah.
And then they got like an 82 thing, and then they've had slight refinements, like a little bit of a flip in the tail. You know, the concaves are still single to double concave. Rails may have changed slightly. The thicknesses have changed. They got thinner. The boards have got thinner, but there's not a whole lot of change, right? Now, in the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s, we did a lot of experiment in surfboard design. There was like everybody was experimenting. There was like Terry Fitzgerald, Dick Brewer, you know, Al Merrick, you know, Glenn Manami, Ben Iper, you know, Jeff McCoy, you know, we're big into experimenting. What's this shape going to do? What's that curve doing? Like there was so much experimentation going on. But in that period, with all that design, we learned stuff that no one knows today.
Yeah.
Because that was the learning curve. That's where we learnt design, right? Now they all shape and copy. They don't develop. They might just tweak this and do that. That I find that I think a lot of guys do stuff. They're doing it, and like for instance, you know, I've widened the nose now, and the board goes better, right? They don't know that now they've balanced the board up at the front. They just think it goes better, right? Which it does because it's better balance. Now we learn all this stuff, and we learned it all in that time period. So now in 2000, 2010, 2020, we can, with the surfboards, we can build a board into a Ferrari. Yeah. Like we can make it, and we can change the turning circle of it. We can change the speed. We can do all these things. We can make it ride big waves, and we can know what we put in it, what it's doing. But not the young shapers. They haven't got a chance of it because they didn't go through that. They didn't learn that. They didn't learn the science of design, of surfboard design. Sure, they can learn things, and sure, they can develop things, and they have to. They got to, and we've got to pass this stuff on.
Yeah.
Like I've got a wealth of knowledge that I know one day somehow I've got to pass it on. Like today, I just passed on now the widen the nose. That's one piece of a surfboard. I've got 55 years of that.
Yeah. You want to take on an apprentice? Not me.
I know.
I have patience, but not that bad. Not that good.
Well, you know, the machines have made it very generic now, you know?
Yeah,
like,
true.
You know, I used to think this is like, for us, we'd change boards like every couple of months on the tour. And then I got off the world tour and I got a board, and it took me, after getting off the tour, it took me about a month to start to understand the board. It took me 6 months to put it right where I wanted to put it. And it took me a year to go, man, this board's a gem. When you're on tour, you're changing boards every couple of months. You don't even know that board, right? I went through a whole life of professional surfing, not actually knowing my board 100%.
Wow.
Right? It took me to get off tour and understand that. And I look at the kids on tour today and I think, wow, they, you know, they discard their boards after one contest and then they get new ones. And I thought, how do they ever get to know them? And I thought, they never get to know their boards. but it's different. I go, these guys, because some of them do keep their good boards, and they should. You should always keep a board that's a gem and never let it go, because no matter what, if they do it exactly the same, it won't be exactly the same. But the thing that these guys have, the advantage of why what I said about the early days is different to these days, because they can get a computer shape that is so close to the board that they've been riding for the past 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
So they can get into that zone of really knowing a board or knowing characteristics and surf that board really well, which is where you see a lot of the guys like Jack Robinson and these guys and Ethan Ewing ripping on their boards like they look like they're just one with their boards. And that's because they've got 15 years of developing that design in increments, which is a different way to which we did. And they're lucky. And they also have video to look at their stuff and go, wow, that's working, that's not working. It's instant. Our stuff was on Super 8 that took 2 weeks or 3 weeks to develop, and then you get it back and then you look at it once or twice, because it was not like on your phone. You can look at it and look at it and look at it and look at it and go, oh, well, that's, we'd have to go over it. And that's how we developed design.
Yeah. Yeah. You're outside of the boards, you actually design a fin for that design as well. Yeah, you held it up before, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got these. These are quad fins, right? Can you see those? Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
They're quads, and they're like, I look at fins and I go, wow, those fins are like 1968 models. They're just like the shape of a fish's fin, but even the shape of that, like these are more like an aeroplane, but you fit them in, they fit into all kind of fish's fins as well. Like I see them on birds, so these are really like high tech. This got tested in water tanks for the boats.
Oh.
And you look how big those boats are. They go along, and they're so big, those boats, they're giant, and they go along, they turn on a dime.
Oh, which boats? Like the catamarans?
Yeah, the racing boats.
Racing, yeah, yeah.
But you see how maneuverable they are. See, it's on water. When we're on surfing, we're on water.
Yep.
So we're turning on water. Even though we're turning in different shapes, right, and tack waves at different angles, we're still turning on water. So these turn on a dime. And then I have like different sizes. I've been really, like, that's the keel that I've had since 84, which you see a lot of guys foiling now. They get out and they get up and they're feeling the lift of the board lifting up for them. And I've always felt the lift up with the speed. It just lightens everything up and you get lots of speed. But what I've really been like, I love the single fin. And for the longest time when I was on tour, I was trying to ride the single fin like the thruster. And, like just that. And it's trying to put a circle in a square hole, right? It just wasn't, that's what I was doing because I was trying to compete. I'm trying to look like the guys on tour. So, but since I've been off tour, I've been able to ride single fins like single fins, and I absolutely love them, right? I ride thrusters. Like, there's my thrusters, right? There's a thruster, and I'll show you these other ones are here. These are my newest thruster. They get them these in America and stuff. They are. Naked Viking make them in America, right? So they're the thrusters. Yeah, I'll pull them all out. Pull them all out for you, mate. Because people haven't seen these.
Yeah, I know.
So they're so they're the
What's the NVS?
NVS is Naked Viking Surf. That's where they're made.
Right. Okay.
Right? And it's made with really good materials.
Yeah.
It's good. It's like a G10 material. It's real thin, but it's stiff, so it allows the fin to go through the water faster.
No flex in there?
No flex. I don't like flex. Look, people talk about flex and they go, this is my take on flex. And I know people are going to destroy me for this, but this is what I think about flex.
Right.
There's the ultimate of flex, right? Now you tell me when that flaps back, that's going to give you power. And even with a flex fin, if you flex a fin and it can't, can you see that, Spinksy?
Yeah.
Okay. So when that flexes, when that goes back, right, there's no way that gives you this massive drive that people think about. What it does is the board goes out of control. And I've seen the best surfers in the world with flexi fins, and I've seen them out of control, and I've seen them eat shit trying to ride them. So, but what happens is they go out of control, back into control. And they think when they get back into control that that's giving them drive and speed.
Right.
Right? All it is control and non-control. There is no way that gives you any forward propulsion.
Yeah.
So, being that this hand is power and that power's over here now, gone, right? Now, with a stiff fin, you got the power, it hits, it's still there. It ain't going anywhere. It's still on the fin. If that flexes, it's gone. So it's hanging on to the power. So a lot of guys will say, oh, you know, like, so I've never been a big flex guy. I tried flex in the early years. I used to have the Greeno tuna fins with flex, with the perfect flex, with the perfect foil. And I've just found out of control in control. But going to my favorite fin at the moment is this one. Look at this. Look at the size of those, right? I'll show you. These are my favorites at the moment. Is this 10-inch fin. It's 10 inches and it goes so fast. Anyone that's seen some of the videos of me surfing lately, a lot of it's been on this where guys go, mate, did you get towed into that? Nah. This just gets so much drive and maneuverability on it. It's an amazing fin.
Would they work on big gun boards as well?
Guns, you know, with a gun, with fins, you have to start to work with the sizes. Like there's a smaller one and a smaller one. For me, I think it just depends. I'm going to Hawaii this year, so I'm going to be trying the 10-inch fins. But I found in the past, like when I was surfing Jaws and stuff like that, I would have one. I had actually, my Jaws fin was that shape, exactly that, but it was a smaller version of it.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think you need as much power on your fin because you're going so fast, but speed's unreal, and harnessing speed, you know, if you can get the board to get all that speed and you can harness it and turn it, then it's good. The problem in the past is we're getting going so fast, it's been able to turn it at those high speeds. But now, you know, understanding design and being able to make boards myself, I'm able to make boards turn at high speed, which is going to be interesting. I'm going to make some guns for Hawaii to turn at high speed.
Awesome. You recently went on a little venture back over to Bali, and probably was a big eye opener compared to what you'd seen in the past with your boards there. Did you get any good surf to get a ride on the boards that you're having at the moment?
Yeah, I got to surf some great places. It's funny, I was there I went over with my wife. We had a great week and played around and I surfed. And then and I had a few little secret spots that just didn't come off. They weren't breaking. Like we just had a week while my wife was there. It was a week of no surf, which was perfect for her. Yeah. And then after that, the surf pumped, and my wife went home. She said, "Yeah, just surf for the next 2 weeks." And I got to I went to a whole bunch of secret spots, and it was just you know, I was turning up at these spots and there's nobody there. I remember one afternoon, the waves were that big. It was like 8 to 10 feet, which is big for me now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm 65. I get a puff on when I paddle out. If I get hit by a bunch of sets, I start puffing. I got to relax. I got to, you know, surfing's changed for me. It's not like when as a kid I could get mowed down by a semi-trailer truck and jump up and fucking chase the next one. You know, now I get hit by 3 or 4 waves. And I've got a puff on. I've got to find a safety zone to recover.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm looking at these waves, and it's like 8 to 10 feet. no one around. And all of a sudden, these two Japanese guys, it's like they came out of the ground. They just showed up. It was unbelievable, mate. And I was just going, they could hardly understand English, but they understood enough.
Yeah.
And I said, mate, I am like, you see guys turn up to a surf break going, oh, no, not these guys are just showing up. Mate, I was so stoked to see these two guys show up. I've gone, I'm so stoked to see you guys here. Like, I've been, I thought I was going to be going, and it was dangerous. Like, if I get hurt out there, I'm in the middle of nowhere, like, and it's a long walk into this place, right? So I thought, if I get hurt out here and there's no one around, then that's what I was worried about. But I had some great, and then we went out and we had a great afternoon of surf. It was kept going up and down, like it'd be 6 foot and then 10 foot and 6 foot and 10 foot. And you had to really wary. But yeah, I had lots of great surf, and I met up with the White Monkey crew, met up with Mason Ho over there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And had a real good talk to Mason about fin design and surfboard design, and his dad, Michael Ho. He's like, Michael and I, we were great mates on tour. And he was so finicky about his boards. Like, Michael would turn up to the contest and he'd be playing around with a little piece of wet and dry, just changing the edge, bringing the edge back that far, just because it needed it.
Right.
And but that's where the refinement is. That's a guy that can tune his Formula One racing surfboard into the track.
Mason, much like his dad back in the day when young.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah.
I think they're different. Mason's really creative and Michael is too, but I think Mason, he never went on that competition thing. See, Michael was in the competition where, he was a fierce competitor. One of the best heats I saw with Michael Ho was against Tom Curran in France, right? And Michael should have got waxed. Like, Michael was at the end of his career. Tom Curran was the best surfer in the world at that time. And they're paddling. And I just sat there. I thought, it is going to be an entertaining heat. I thought Curran was just going to wax him. Michael takes off on this left in this contest, and he grabs the rail and he just gets shacked backside, completely shacked. No one's hardly ever seen a backside tube at that stage. No one could backside tube ride in small waves at that stage. We did the layback and we were getting tubed like that, but no one was grabbing rail and doing the pig dog and going through. And he gets his pig dog and he gets like 10 for it. He comes out, he waxes Tom Curran.
Wow.
So Michael was ferocious. Like, he had a game too. Like, you coming up against Michael. Michael was very good at getting great waves in a heat. Very, very good. And he had a game. He could surf great too. But Mason is more. He's very creative and he's colorful. And you look at his boards, they're so colorful, and he goes to these breaks and he just surfs this beautiful wave for fun and radical. He goes for it, like he surfs Waimea Bay and then he'll surf these rock break. I love what Mason Ho's doing. I just think it's like a Jamie O'Brien. Both those two kids, I love that they're broken away from the mainstream and they're professional surfers and they're getting supported in what they do, which it helps the overall wholeness of professional surfing.
Yeah. Was you on the beach when Alco was what was that, like an infringement where they pulled his leg rope, the Ho brothers?
I wasn't there that day, but
That's
Kong's just as bad as everyone. I've seen him paddle over the top of people. He had the biggest psych out game. He'd be up there, before the heats and try getting in your face and stuff.
yeah.
He's a great surfer, Kong. Like, him and I are like brothers, mate. We ring each. He rang me I rang him for his birthday. He rang me for my birthday. We're two Leos, we're two lions.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, he's that era, that's the era. Yes, that stuff went on. Leg ropes, paddling over the top, sinking rails in paddle races, all that stuff went on. Not like today, bro.
Yeah. They still, they have the good paddle battle to get priority, They still sort of push them further in to the wave, they didn't have their tactics. I bet you, with Kelly, he was probably one of the biggest people that, mine stuff, I guess.
He got me one day, and I never forget it. We had a couple of good battles, Kelly. When Kelly first came on the tour, I had priority, right? And I'm paddling for this wave, and as I'm paddling for it, he paddles across the front of me, and he goes and stopped me from catching it. There was no interference called. Today it would have been called interference, but I thought he got me then. I pulled back because he got in my way, and I couldn't get the clean takeoff. But he'd paddled right in front of me, and I thought he had game. He wasn't here I am. I was on not on the top of my game, but I was one of the respected surfers, and here's Kelly. He didn't give a rat's ass. Well, he was just. He was in there to just mow whoever was going to be in front of him. And then Kelly and I had this other heat. This was more near the end of my career. It was the last year, actually. And we're in Japan, and I just had to I had to do everything. If I'm going to I'm at the end of my career. Kelly's 2-time world champion. I've got to try and psych him out. So I go up to him and I go, "Don't fall off. If you fall off, I'll eat you alive." Right? And then I'm working on the power of don't. You tell a kid don't do that. It's the first thing he's going to do. He's going to go and do it. So I'm working on that. So I've taken this wave. I've got a 7-point ride, and I need another 7 to win the heat, and I'm in the game. And so anyway, when I caught that 7-point ride and I'm paddling back out, Kelly's taken off on this wave, and it's not even very good. It looked like about a 5-point wave, which is going to put me in the sequence of the next good wave. And I'm thinking, that's a crap wave. And then he goes around and he does this big cutback, and he comes in, he bangs in the whitewater, and he falls. And I went, oh. and then he stands back up.
Oh,
It's he's laid back, double, he's double jointed in his back. So it's just pulled off the biggest maneuver of the heat, right? So then I've paddled out. I've got 8 minutes left to catch a 7-point ride, and it just didn't come.
Oh, dang.
And that was my last sort of go with Kelly.
Did he say anything about that heat? When after you said to him, no,
nothing. He never got cocky about it. See, that's a good thing about Kelly. He's not cocky.
Yeah.
I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah.
If I didn't do that, I would never have got in the position of being 7 points and having a shot. He probably would have comboed me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So how's life treating you back on the Goldie? You at the surf school that's been pumping for years and pretty busy now?
Surf school's going good. My brother runs a lot of that. I do a lot of the private lessons for the surf school. It's in Surfers Paradise. That's been up and running for over 20 years. And I've developed all the learning system for that. The family, my daughter, Johanna, she's a nurse. My daughter that you just saw come through Atlanta, she's becoming a nurse. She's 1 year off being a nurse.
Wow.
My son's a school teacher, Cheyne. And he's just bought himself a nice big truck. He wants to start going camping. And my wife and I, we sort of doing a little bit of traveling. Last year we went to Europe, and we're just having fun together, just, enjoying. The kids have grown up now. So we've kind of gone through, that, like your kids are growing up. So we're into a new stage in our relationship, which is, it's developing. It feels like a new relationship in a way that we're finding, what we want to do at this stage. I live on 15 acres in the bush, I've got a shaping bay up in the back here, where I love going up and developing, just putting together surfboards up in the shaping bay. It's like, and I go up there at different times. Like I'm good in the morning, so I go up, I'm nice and sharp. And if I start to lose a little bit of my focus, then bang, I'm out of the shaping bay. And then, I may go, it's great, I can go back in the afternoons. I'm surfing. I like to sort of, I love going surfing,
Yeah.
If I could surf every day, if I could surf, like my life's not perfect, but if I could surf every day and develop design, like now I put together mostly designs that I know, but I have so many more designs that I would like to fulfill, but I don't have the finances to do it and the time, like you can't, you spend so much time when you're developing a design. It takes, like I've been working on this one design for over, I'd say 10 years. I had it in my head for 15, so, and you can't I don't put anything out that I don't know,
Yeah.
So it's a design, in progress. I've got fins that I've been working on that, I've been working like fins to me, tell me we got fins, the right placement with fins. Like my fins are towed in like this, the fastest boat. Fins have been like that since 1972. You think we got it right in 1972? Were the cars perfect in 1972? You look at a 1972 car and then you look at a thing that they're run by a computer now. So our fins are like that. So I've got mine like that, right? Which is faster, quicker reacting. They've also done that through the testing in boats. So, I things are okay, bro.
Yeah, that's good.
Sailing along. I have my ups and downs. I have my good days and my bad days.
Yes, very
I
good.
find as we get older, I'm stumbling to my feet when I surf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I stumble up. I get up, and once I get up, then I start to put my feet into position, and then I'm away. I can start to surf, but I can pop up. I can still get up. And I've seen a lot of my friends, guys I was on tour with have stopped surfing or hardly can surf, or, they're on stand-up paddle boards and, a lot of them still love the ocean and all that. But I give thanks that my body still allows me to go surfing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But, all looking after yourself though, as well, that, diet, we do get a bit lazy at times, and then you do, oh, what am I doing? You kick your butt.
Get off track.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty easy to do.
Been off track a few times.
I'd be more than a few, I reckon.
Oh yeah, we have. Well, I put on some weight, there's a few things not happy about. I keep trying to lose weight. It's almost impossible. It's like, I've been trying to lose weight for 10 years. I've lost like 1 kilo.
Yeah.
2 pounds.
I went to Indo, Nusa Lamong. I was there for 6 weeks. I rocked up after pretty much a 6-week tour of the US. 12 days of that was on a cruise ship down in the US British Virgin Islands with all the food you can eat. And it was just a grazing cruise, pretty much. Got to 90 kilos. Little Oompa Loompa, went to Indo, or Nusa Lamong, for 6 weeks, come back, 76 kilos.
7. That's why you look so good.
Yeah, it's just
Why
like...
do you look good?
Yeah.
You've lost 14 kilos or 15 kilo. That's 30 pounds.
Yeah, but now I'm back up a little bit now.
Yeah, you look like
Back
you're
up to
84
80.
kilo.
80.
80.
No, not 84. No, shit, no.
Well, you got to keep, stay in there, bro. You know how hard it is to lose.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm 56 now. Like you said, Leo, I'm a Leo. I'm actually born the same day as Elko, the 21st. And you're, I think, what are you, the 11th or?
I'm the 8th of the 8th.
8th of the 8th. Oh, yeah, right. My mother-in-law's, oh, no, she's May. Yeah. Emma's the 11th of the 8th. Yeah. Yeah.
What about your uncle that lives in West Java?
Oh, he's not my uncle, Wardy.
Is it Wardy?
Oh, Evan.
Evan.
Yeah, no, that's Gringo's cousin.
Gringo's cousin.
Yeah, that's Gringo's cousin. Yeah. Yeah, he's in
He's
Chile.
a Tarzan man, isn't he?
Yeah, he's here at home at the moment. I think at the House of Budrum, doing some stuff there, and you know, but I guess,
I heard the classic story about him is he got bitten in West Java, got rabies, and then went around and killed every dog in the town so no one else could get rabies.
sounds like
You
Evan.
know that story? That's Evan, bro.
Oh God,
I
yeah.
met Evan. He kept saying to me, mate, you got to come over. Like, come over. There's so many good waves. You know, I've missed so many great opportunities by, you know, my mates had the boats up in the Mentawis in their beginning days when there was like 2 or 3 boats.
Yeah, I've never been there.
Go, like, you know, or,
Yeah.
you know, just.
Yeah, never done the boats. Finances are a bit, it's so dear though. And then mate told me he went into one place and there was like 70 crew in the water. It was like,
Yeah, that's outrageous.
yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of surfers around the world, and there's heaps just every day. I'm guessing they love the lifestyle. It's good. It's healthy for your body. It's mentally, it's good too, just to get out there and focus on nothing else. The ocean. And I don't seem to mind the people. There's plenty of.
What's your next trip?
I'm actually away next week for our work conference. I'm in North Carolina on the Outer Banks of Kitty Hawk. I'm doing a little bit of a excursion first off the Big Apple, and then go catch some mates down at Florida. They got the National Kidney Foundation Surf Fest at Cocoa Beach, so I'll get down there and catch up with a few before I fly home. Just a short 2-weeker, yeah. So, but not.
I was found with Florida, like even a guy today, he contacted me. Like, sometimes I wake up in the morning and I look on my Instagram and I go, and then they know you're on, so they write you a little thing right there. He's up. And this guy contacted me this morning. He was in Mexico.
Right.
He's from Florida, and he rides the wing keel. He says, "Oh, I ride the wing keel," and he sent me a couple of photos and stuff. But I said to him this morning, I go, Florida is one of those places where design is so good because the wave is there's many days where there's powerless waves. So you've got to have a board that can really skim across water and lift and fly. And I always find in Florida, there's great design in Florida.
Yeah, back in the day,
or Matt Keckley, there's
remember Natural Art?
Natural Art.
Yeah.
Ricky Carroll, he's over there.
Yeah.
But those guys on that side of the coast, their design is that they have really, really good. That's why while you're there, I would go to the beaches and just see what they're riding and how well they're riding. That's when I go to the beach, I learn a lot of my stuff by watching people surf. And you just go, oh, that guy's doing well, or they're struggling, and if you see somebody who's doing really well, go up and have a little, like when you're over there, go up, and a lot of guys you'll see them buy those generic boards that usually if a board looks really good, it's only going to work when the waves are really good. Whereas you look at a board and go, oh, that looks a bit, a bit piggish or doesn't look so good. But then all of a sudden when the waves are shitty or they're not so good, they're the kind of boards that fly. So when you're over there, have a little look, at what's going on. I'd be really interested in seeing what Matt Keckley's doing over there.
All right.
He's been designing and shaping surfboards for over 40 years.
Yeah, well, you should hit him up. So
Yeah, I look at his stuff on the Insta.
Yeah, good. All right, mate. Well, I want to again thank you. Really appreciate your time, Cheyne. I know you're a busy man, and look forward to you maybe another time on the Weekend Waves.
Yeah.
And again,
we'll talk story when I get back from Hawaii.
Yeah, sounds good.
A whole new world.
You take care, bro.
Aloha.
Aloha.